Allegiance. We completed the roll call, the pledge of allegiance, the agenda consideration. The first was Glenn. The second was Blake, and we did an individual roll call and the motion carried 6-0. Jenny Scott could not be heard. We'll move to public comment. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. Board communication? Any? No, we're good.
We're good.
All right. We'll move to board action.
Jenny indicates that she can hear now and hopefully can speak.
Okay, perfect.
I'm here. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jenny.
No, because we're using the computer.
Are we gonna hear that the rest of the night?
That's her phone.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry, just one moment. I just want to open that link. Okay. So I'm going to open the floor to nominations to elect the chair for the 2026-2027 annual procedural meetings. Do I hear any nominations? I nominate Crystal. Any other nominations? Is that all? Yeah. Great. All right. Do I hear a motion to support that? Okay.
So,
Are nominations subject to a second?
no, so nominations is just to gather, just for board members to make a nomination. And then after that, there would be someone would make a motion, second, and then a vote. Yeah.
So you want to tackle that motion?
I believe that you let by acclamation.
I'm not sure about acclamation.
Well, I'll just. Chair. Board.
Do I hear a second? Any
I'll
discussion?
second.
No? Okay, we'll move to a vote. So just to repeat that, the nomination was for Crystal to be chair for the next year. There was a motion made by Merle and a second made by Alberto. There was no discussion and we'll move to a vote. Blake?
Yes. Which one do you want?
Which one is better for the recorded meeting minutes? I prefer yes. Okay.
Yes.
Kelsey? Yes. Merle?
Yes.
Alberto?
Yes.
Glenn?
Aye.
Jenny?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Motion carries. Elected chair is Crystal Rostisil. We'll open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I'll nominate Jenny. For vice chair, again.
Do I hear any other nominations or a motion?
I'll make a motion that we elect Jenny Scott as vice chair for this next year.
So we should probably hear from Jenny. Does she accept the nomination?
Jenny?
Yeah. Sure.
That was
Do I hear a second?
Hearing no other nominations.
Okay. So to elect the vice chair, we had a nomination for Jenny Scott. A motion was made to elect Jenny Scott to vice chair by Kelsey Newkirk. And a second was made by Merle Stutzman. And we'll do a roll call vote. Glenn,
Aye.
Alberto,
Aye.
Merle,
Aye.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Crystal votes yes. Motion carries. Designations and authorization for the 2026-2027 as of July 1st, 2026. Do you need these separate? Actually, they're designations. Let me get to my spot here.
And that motion, that,
All five could be in one motion.
that motion at the bottom,
Yes,
that's all.
thank you.
Be resolved that the North Reading School District Board of Directors hereby designates and authorizes the 2026-27 annual procedural meeting designations and authorizations, board meeting dates, and 2027-28 budget calendar as presented.
There's a motion on the table by Glenn Holm. Do I hear a second?
I'll second. Jenny Scott will second.
Jenny Scott will second. Thanks, Scott. Do I hear any discussion? Moving then, we'll go to a vote. Glenn,
Aye.
Alberto,
Aye.
Merle,
Aye.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Crystal votes yes. Motion carries. Okay.
And so then we have two approved extensions of existing nutrition contracts, and I think a motion could just be made to approve the extension of existing nutrition contracts as presented, could be a possible motion.
Right?
Question, Sharon, do we need to address the budget calendar and meeting schedule before we move on?
I think in the last one that we did, it included. No? Oh, sorry, no, go ahead. It included 2, 3, and 4. The motion read, be it resolved that the North Reading School District Board of Directors hereby designates and authorizes the 2026-2027 annual procedural meeting designations and authorizations, board meeting dates, and the 2027-2028 budget calendar as presented.
No, I see the wording down below. I think that's too correct.
No problem.
Didn't know what I'm voting on, yeah.
You're good. Okay, right now, I would entertain a motion to approve the extension of existing nutrition contracts.
I will, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nancy.
I'll make a motion, we approve extension of existing nutrition contracts, RFP B 2025-2030 to Goody Man Distributing for 26-27 school year, and RFP D 2025-2030 to Spring Valley Dairy for 2026-27 school year.
Do I hear a second? So currently, there's a motion on the table by Glenn Holm, seconded by Kelsey Newkirk, for extension of the existing nutrition contracts as read. We'll do any discussion?
I do have a question as to whether these contracts actually terminated at a date certain, and this extension picks up on that and adds something, whether they've been out to bid again or scrutinized.
So I can speak to that, that this is a a cooperative RFP, meaning a large number of school districts went together to do a request for proposal. It is a 5-year contract. However, it has been practiced to approve to continue with that existing contract. So there's no renegotiation. There was no new RFP process. This is continuing the existing service providers for bread and dairy as listed.
Did raise a question to me. I didn't try to check it out as to whether there are acquisitions, certain protocols that we need to follow depending on the amounts that are expended, getting bids and so on. And also, who negotiates for the large group? I thought last year it was just maybe 2 or 3 of this.
I don't have the exact number of districts that were part of this multi-year RFP. I can say that the proposal was sent out to bread providers, dairy providers. Each of those providers submit their proposals to there was essentially a RFP board that reviewed all those proposals. And food services, being a federal program, has a lot of rules that we must follow. This follows the requirements for proper bid and the request for proposal, the official process, due to not only the amounts, but also due to the federal funding requirements.
I will add that this was originally started in 2025, so we're midway through that 5 years.
We're not into at the 5-year
No.
point.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Satisfied.
Okay, we'll move to a vote. Blake,
If it's a 5-year bill, why do you have to vote on it every year for?
So that is a question that came up. I see that this has been done annually here. We are looking into if this needs to be done. It is a good transparency piece to let the board know, as we would have the option to go and do our own procurement process again. Obviously, in the majority of cases, contracts are better if somebody can receive a large contract with multiple school districts instead of a singular North Marion. So we'd be happy to share more information on those RFPs at a later meeting if you guys would like.
Or explore why bringing it to the board if it's already within an existing agreement.
I
Yeah.
didn't know what the vote been talking about, or starting to talk about, but I'd be happy to say yes. If when you find it.
Blake,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Merle,
Aye.
Alberto,
Alright.
Glenn,
Aye.
Jenny,
Yes.
Crystal is aye.
All right, so next up is, if you can open, yep, right there. So you got some background information and, thank you. And as I'd indicated to you is that we adopted a new policy that now says the board shall adopt as a low impact pesticide list to use in their IPM plan. So that's what this is. So we're asking for your approval of the low impact pesticide list. If there was reason the board wanted to have more information or discussion, we could table this to next month, and have Jeff Alderman come with us. But at this point, we're requesting your approval.
All right, I'd entertain a motion.
I think that we adopt a list of lower pesticides for use in accordance with the district integrated forest management plan.
Right. Thank you. So I have a motion on the table to approve the low impact pesticide list by Kelsey, And it's seconded by Blake. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Glenn,
Aye.
Alberto,
Aye.
Merle,
Aye.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Blake, Jenny,
Aye, yes.
Crystal votes no. 6-1 motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Glenn beat you to it, but Jenny second. Is that okay?
Oh, perfect, yeah.
All right. So there's a motion on the table to approve the consent agenda by Glenn Holm. There's a second by Jenny Scott. Is there any discussion regarding the consent agenda?
If it's in order, I would ask a couple of questions. One has to do with the HR report. I was just curious what the rundown is, what the picture is of our administrative staff, principals and vice principals, and their designation that is new.
Can we open that? So,
They're not related
Could you
directly to the
Was-
report that's there, just that we've had resignation and retirement. Not many, and we've had change as to who's in each principal position and vice principal position at present.
I'd be happy to talk about that in my superintendent report.
And the other question had to do with the minutes. At last meeting, several of us, including me, were absent, but the minutes show that there was a presentation by two parties, and one of which is not designated as having been here. Thus, I misread.
Not sure which one we're talking about.
Can you be more specific?
I think the minutes showed, and I should have reviewed it before I said anything probably, but that it showed that the superintendent's contract was presented by Blake Nelson and Jenny Scott. And one of the two were not listed as having been here unless perhaps they arrived late.
Oh, I can answer that. So Jenny Scott and Blake worked on the superintendent contract in conjunction to bring it forward, but Blake was not here
Yeah.
in attendance. But Jenny spoke on their behalf. So is there a,
The minutes read, Board Representatives Blake Nelson and Jenny Scott presented the proposed.
so do you feel like that should be reflected that Jenny Scott was the only presenter? Even though they
I
worked
would
on it
say
together?
that she presented the contract negotiated by Blake and Jenny. That seems more truthful,
Okay,
but
that,
1 out of 7. So you can think that
there's
or we
first,
can together as a board.
okay, so Glenn and Jenny, you have a motion on the table. Would you want to add any amendment to your motion? Or leave it?
I know friendly amendments are not a thing, but yeah, I would totally entertain making those changes as noted.
All right, so the motion is the consent agenda is approved with correction on June, I think this is the June 8th, am I correct? June 22nd.
22nd.
board action item A, where it reflects the board, representatives that Jenny Scott presented the proposed superintendent contract renewal. And that was negotiated by Jenny Scott and Blake Nelson with improper grammar. Jenny, are you okay with still being a second on that?
Yeah, that's fine. Second.
So there's a motion, a first and a second. We've had discussion. Are we comfortable moving to a vote? Glenn?
Aye.
Alberto?
Aye.
Merle?
I,
Kelsey?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yeah, yes.
Crystal, yes. Motion carries. Financial update.
All right, we'll turn it over to Kim.
Thank you. So today's update is a little bit twofold, threefold on that. This, as the summer months kind of wind down as far as the activity on our campuses, it's a very, very busy time as we are working to close out the 2025-26 fiscal year. Today's report, it reflects our May 31, our May month close. The June month is essentially closed. However, North Marion School District works on what's known as a modified accrual basis. And so expenditures that are incurred within the month of June, but not paid until sometimes in July, must be accrued back. Essentially, those expenditures are still going to hit the books. So while we have reconciled bank statements, we have certain activities taken care of through June 30th, the final ending fund balance, meaning the money and the true funds that are remaining at the end of that year, will be determined in the coming weeks, and then of course must be validated through our formal audit process. So at the next meeting, I will be presenting what I anticipate our June 30th ending fund balance for the general fund to be, with that caveat that audits are always the final determination on that. Our general fund financial report is very similar to that was presented a little over a month ago now due to our shifted schedule. I'm projecting right now an ending fund balance of $2.65 million. We budgeted for a $2.5 million ending fund balance. So I am feeling very optimistic that this is going to kick us off in the right direction for the upcoming fiscal year. Again, the final accruals for both revenues and expenditures will determine that final number. So the financial report is attached. We are very much in line with what we've been seeing throughout the past few months, and I'd be happy to answer, any questions that anybody has on that report. But essentially, I don't anticipate any significant movement from this. I am hopeful that if any, there is an even greater positive movement on that ending fund balance, as we may have certain encumbrances. We may have certain open purchase orders for expenditures that are going to be able to be released, and that those funds made back available. So I'd be happy to answer any questions on this report, or any generalized questions about our fiscal year end that any of you might have.
so what percentage is represented for the 2.65 million? Do we have a percentage we shoot for?
Oh, okay. Excellent. So for the 25-26 budget, the general fund budget was $27 million. So a $2.65 million ending fund balance is getting up there in that 9% of general fund. So again, it's, we have though an overall budget of approximately 40 million. And so you're looking at, we have such a significant amount of activity, financial activity, 13, essentially a third of our financial activity is outside of the general fund. And so that ending fund balance is actually critical in a lot of other ways, as if we were to have an unexpected loss of a significant grant or, certain other funding sources where the requirement to continue to serve does not change, but those other funding sources change. That is where that continues to be a critical piece. So
Tax receipts are outside of this 27, and then other grant monies that are not in the general fund. That disbursements to us to make up the other 13 million.
So two answers to that. Tax receipts, as in property tax payments that our taxpayers make, is within this general fund. Property tax receipts are part of the $27 million general fund. The $13 million roughly outside of that has a lot to do with grant funding, has to do with some balances in our student body funds. And of course, because of fund accounting, there is some unique impact on a budget when there are inter-fund activities. And that would be a great topic if we wanted to have maybe an offline conversation about how fund accounting can significantly impact overall budgets.
Does this contingency include that mystery money we have from transportation in 2020?
These numbers
2027?
reflect what we have in our hands right now. Again, if there were to be a change in our ranking in our transportation cost per student as compared to all 197 other districts, the state may come knocking for $300,000 of that money. Yes.
The 13 million is a large sum. What comprises the bulk of that?
So there's a program called the Integrated Plans, or which encompasses a lot of our large grants. Student Investment Account, you hear us talk about SIA, High School Success, HSS, or previously referred to as Measure 98. We have early literacy grants. We have comprehensive state literacy grants. We have early learning.
Mhm.
We've got a significant number of other funding sources. And I feel like maybe a more finance-based work session might be a good way to explain it, but that 13 million also represents some interfund transfer dollars, which would be probably a deeper conversation with a lot of graphs and charts, and fund accounting has some unique pieces to it. So, but we have millions of dollars in grants that are critical to our operations here.
I must be to comprise 13 million.
Yeah, in the budget 101 workshop we had in February, you covered a lot of that. So maybe you can reshare that one.
That'd be great. Be happy to.
I'm probably back in budget 95, but maybe that's a 43 project.
Going back to the transportation money, are we still right on the whiskers edge of like?
So the estimates that every school has provided, again, these are now just self-reporting dollars at this point. We actually are not as on the cusp as we originally were. I am feeling a little less concerned, but I will not breathe deeply until next May of 2027. Yeah. The enrollment report, if there's nothing else on the financials, the enrollment report, I have retained the prior report. We are working with the state of Oregon right now on what is known as your annual cumulative average daily membership. So your final attendance. And we are working through the last few records that need our attention, and we'll have our final, not only enrollment, but also what is known as the ADMW, which is the weighted enrollment in which our funding is calculated. We will be able to have a very good idea of what North Marion's number is by next week. Of course, the big factor is, what did every other district do this year? And so.
Great,
Thank you all.
thank you.
All right.
Dan, you're up.
So we'll just go straight to my presentation there. So I said no downtime, but there's been some downtime. So it's been a good summer so far. So some staffing changes. So to maybe address some of the questions that Merle you brought up, is that we are a very lean administrative team this year. We had our principals actually came back to work today, and we had a meeting today, and so we only have one principal in each building. And so the team is comprised of 4 principals. Cheryl, Desiree, and myself is kind of that core admin team for that. Obviously, we have other people that play some different roles among the wider kind of admin team when you think of directors and whatnot. But we are a very small admin team. And I'll go ahead and kind of tangent there a little bit with the change in high school administration. We decided that this would be a good year to pause hiring a vice principal, as Lindsay Android Koberstein is interim principal this year. So as my presentation there says, John Young, who was previously at the middle school, he taught this last year at the high school. He is our student support specialist. And so these are, back in the day, might have called these dean of students type of positions, as maybe they're formerly known as. And so serves to do a lot of those student management types of functions, supports the administration, but not in an administrative salary and not with the administrative supervision responsibilities. So that's what those positions essentially serve to do, is to support the administration and student management, and but not have the responsibilities of supervision. And the decision to do that at the middle school was one that I had been discussing with our team, with our declining enrollment. How long do we have 2 administrators at the middle school? And so that decision was decided in June, that we essentially conducted another reduction in force of an administrative position. That's how that kind of process worked out, that we reduced through layoff a second vice principal. And so we went through a process, and Marie Van de Koevering, who's been teaching middle school at the middle school for several years, is going to serve in that student support specialist position, which then leads to some of the other openings that we have there. So that is why there is a middle school math opening, because that is Marie's position, former position. So we did have 2 resignations at in our primary and intermediate school. So we have currently have an ELD opening at the primary. Now, if you look at my slideshow that I sent out the other day, it would have said first grade, but we did make a transfer or an assignment change that a second grade teacher requested to go to that first grade. So that's why that's happening. I'm going to talk about that on the next slide in a second. But I will tell you, because Shelby told me today, I said, hey, we're going to need to change that posting. He says, well, there's already 25 applicants for that first grade position. So, and it's not been posted a week. So that is the kind of climate that we're in terms of people looking for positions. And I've already had a principal colleague tell me from a neighboring district, I just lost a second grade teacher. You need to try to hire them. And so that's the kind of climate that we're in right now. So good time to be hiring. We got a couple temporary positions at the intermediate, including, and also a special education position. Already mentioned the math, and we have a special education position, or do we have 2? Just one at the high school. So that's some of what we've been working on. Labor relations are always really important. We've continued to kind of finalize the CBA. I was supposed to have you sign a page today. Yeah, so we'll get that out. We'll get that done. Except now it's clear over there. So want to talk a little bit about this leadership opportunities just for a moment. One of the things that when I interviewed here during that process, and I remember being in the middle school commons and talking to people, I had a slide that talked about leaders leaders building leadership opportunities. We should always be in a motion of how do you create leadership opportunities for folks, regardless of their responsibility in the organization. And those student success specialist positions are one way you do that. And so how does a teacher get an opportunity to do work that is different than the classroom that might prepare them for an administrative opportunity? So that's just one example, but we're going to continue to look to do that in ways that we can build leadership capabilities within our folks. And so that's just a real passion of mine. And so and hopefully I put it under labor relations because I do think that the union, UNME, both unions appreciate those opportunities of looking out for their members and how do their members get opportunities to grow. And honoring transfer requests. We set up a transfer request process last year. And so when those opportunities come up, if it's the right fit, it's not an automatic, but when it's the right fit, you follow through with those processes, and that builds goodwill with both of your associations. And again, why did we take a second grade teacher to a first grade teacher? They expressed an interest. Good reason to do it. And so those are little things that pay off in the long run. With the classified union, I shared with you, Senate Bill 968 allows public employers to recoup overpaid wages. Make sure I said that right. So in the case of if there was an overpayment of wages, this Senate bill allows us to recoup that process. Anytime you're dealing with a financial impact, a union could demand a bargain. They did. We reached an agreement so that we can, if there is that error, we can recoup those funds. We have a campus monitor position posted. That's an internal only position. Another example of a leadership opportunity move. We have reached an agreement with the classified union on its wage placement. And it's currently posted, so we're hopefully filling that. And just so you know, on that position, this was a conversation I had with Lindsay, and after her being vice principal for a year, feeling like more supervision at our high school, this position will serve all 4 schools, but I would probably give it probably an 80% at the high school, 20% at the other schools of kids need supervision. They need eyes and ears, and having somebody that can be visible working under Wes and the high school principal. So it's a dual supervision kind of model. So that position's out there. Also just put on your radar, our contract with the classified union, the full expiration is 2028. When we last agreed to them, there is what's called a wage reopener that is in the spring of this coming spring. So we would rebargain wages. There's a little bit more to it, but essentially it's to focus on wages. I have notified the classified union that we would be very interested in doing a full reopener in the spring. I feel like the contract could use some work, some cleaning up, and just selfishly, that would allow our team not to have to bargain at all during 2028. And bargaining takes a lot of time. And so if we can get them to do a full reopener and get a 3-year agreement, this team would not have to bargain during 2028. So I won't spend a ton of time on this. This is stuff we've been talking about, but we do have an executed contract extension with first student. So we're super excited about that. Glad to not only get an 8% reduction, but also know what our costs are going to be for 26, 27 and 27, 28. So that's helpful for the business manager, director of finance. We are working on a new intergovernmental agreement with the city of Hubbard regarding the services of the Hubbard Donald Aurora Police Department. We're adding more services, and we're also adding some language that addresses police access to surveillance cameras, and to stress to the public, this is for emergency use only. Have had legal counsel look over this proposal. No concerns from legal counsel. So just awaiting to get that back from the city of Hubbard. And we've moved from next door to the high school. This puts us with students closer with students, although the district office was obviously connected to the high school. It did not hear bells. It did not see passing students. I'm really excited about our location. I get to look out at the commons. I can see what's happening in the high school commons. I can get reminded when a bell rings that maybe they could use some extra supervision in the hallways. I'm looking forward to being in and around the students. I'm looking forward to supporting our high school administration team. While we're not fully moved in, I feel like I like the layout of having us just and then we all walk into a circle together. I think it's going to be a good move once we get all situated, furniture firmly in place and
So
whatnot.
close.
Yeah, man. And then getting used to our new routine of driving to a board meeting as we all left and drove our cars over here. And we thought that was a good reason because then we're not tempted to go back into our offices. We're going to get in our cars and go home after this. So that's a good thing. Where the Welcome Center that was previously in our intermediate school will move out here, have its own signage. We'll have better access to serve families, not just our Spanish speaking families, although that'll be a priority, but also a place. And it even happened today. We had families come in today to register a transfer. Of course, we had no furniture, no nothing, but we did our best. But what's that?
Chairs.
Oh, we had chairs. So, and this is also going to be a home base for some of our SPED staff that are a little bit more itinerant, and some of their locations haven't been as close to where they typically perform their duties. So that'll be a good spot for those folks. I'm gonna pause there. Merle, did you have any other questions related to the staffing and some of the administrative things before I wrap up my last slide?
The only other question I had, and I don't know if I have to answer it now, was just a thumbnail of the job description of the student support specialist.
I can send that to you. Yeah, it's on our website. So, although that's a whole nother story. So we'll update you next month on our website. So, all right. So what's next? The implementation of our strategic plan, and I just highlighted those core components of student achievement, community and culture, and talent. Want to highlight that we brought back instructional leadership teams to each of our schools. This was a stipended position previously that we cut the stipend last year due to budget reductions. And also we're really so we rewrote the job descriptions for this. We brought back the stipends at a slightly lower amount that we think is more commensurate to the duties and responsibilities. And then we met briefly with our principals today to talk about, these are the people that you entrust to carry out what should be happening in your classroom. So again, more leadership opportunities for teachers to get in front of teachers to talk about what good classroom instruction should look like. Not just conduits to be communication tools from the principal to the teachers back to the teachers. That's an email or a staff meeting. These should be the folks that we say, these are the ones that we would want to be up in front of our classrooms, teaching all of our teachers how the strategies that they find most successful. So I'm really excited about bringing those teams back. And lastly, board retreat. So I have individual board member meetings scheduled with you over the next 2 weeks. And so one of the things that I would like you to bring to the meeting are your ideas around what you would like to see at a board retreat. So what would you like to be thinking when we meet? What would you like to see for a board retreat? And we'll have our own kind of one-on-one conversation about that. And then at the next board meeting, I'd like the board to discuss, and I'll probably lean to the board leadership of what does that retreat want to look like? And everything's on the table. It doesn't have to be on a regular board meeting night. It doesn't have to be here. It doesn't have to happen if there's not a need. And it really needs to serve what does the board want to do and discuss at a retreat type of thing. And does that require me and my team to bring resources like we did a couple of years ago, where we had one of our attorneys and actually another school board member. So I just want to know for our team what we might do to help support that. Or is it just a list of discussion topics that the board wants to have amongst itself, and we're just your audience and listening and whatnot. So, and And again, if there is not a need to have a retreat, we don't need to have one. But it's that time of year where if we're gonna plan one, we need to start planning. So, you have two parts to this, is at your individual board member meeting, share your thoughts about what you'd like to have at a retreat, and then be prepared to discuss that amongst yourselves on August 10th. All right. Any questions? Is that my last slide, I
Mhm.
think?
Any last minute stuff? Otherwise, I'm adjourning. Okay, adjourned. 53, 54.
Yep, 53.
Thank you.